Hello, my fibromyalgia friends. Welcome to another video in our video series from the Support Fibromyalgia Network with nutrition and fibromyalgia. These are just overview helpful tips in this video. So we're going to share some tips for grocery shopping and cooking food at home. And if you have additional tips to share, please leave a comment and share this content with your friends. But we love additional tips from other advocates and patients in the community so that everyone can benefit. I am Melissa Toller. I am a board certified functional medicine health coach with additional training in nutrition and neuroscience. I'm also the executive director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network and a fibromyalgia patient myself. My journey with fibromyalgia started as a teenager, and I've been living with fibromyalgia for over 20 years. Stay tuned for more videos in this series. If there is a topic you would like us to cover, please let us know, and we'd be happy to make an attempt at it if we have the knowledge. Now, in full disclosure, as I'm talking about cooking and prepping at home and these types of tips, I want you to let you know I am a terrible, terrible cook. I didn't cook a lot when I was younger, and I'm having to learn later in life, which is very, very difficult. My knife skills are atrocious. So I've been looking at things to simplify my life in the kitchen and make it easier, especially when it comes to days that there are high pain or fatigue, or if I'm busy or stressed out. Now, I had a lot of chronic pain that I had to overcome. So some of these tips that I'm sharing with you are things that I utilize to get more nutrition in my life when my days were at my worst. So again, feel free to share your tips, what your barriers are when it comes to adding nutrition into your life. This information is educational material only and is not intended to take the place of medical advice from your own healthcare provider or physician. Now let's get started with some grocery shopping tips. Grocery shopping has always been an overwhelming part of this process because it seems to take so much energy. And I don't know if everyone has the same amount of vigilance when they go grocery shopping as I do, but I have this natural fear that I do not want to be hit by someone else's grocery cart because they were not paying attention to where they're going. I don't know if it's the law of being a fibromyalgia patient and you're just worried that you're not going to get hit by something else to add to the increased amount of pain that you're already in and the lack of energy and fatigue and brain fog that you're already going with. So it's an overwhelming grocery shopping. And then not only that, you're spending energy. You've got to then go home, unpack, put the groceries away, figure out what you're going to eat, and then cook it. So this is a whole long process here that we want to try to simplify for our fibromyalgia friends. So some of the tips that kind of come up top of mind and these days have really improved. So I want to know if you are using these services, is using these delivery services, apps, or even curbside pickup. So I'm glad it's really advanced, but I know that there's some extra fees for the delivery services, which may be off-putting or outside of your budget. So utilizing curbside pickup, generally they don't charge extra for that from what I've seen. So are you using those types of tools? And I've found it very, very helpful to conserve that energy instead of going to the grocery store. Now, if you are at the grocery store, one thing that I did put here on this list is to use the grocery cart. Now, I know from my own experience in the past, I was like, oh, I'll just get a few items and use that basket. And by the end of the time, because I did not build a grocery list in the next item, is I'm busy leaning over to the side and holding it. My shoulder is hurting really bad. So by the end of it, I'm just completely wiped out. So these are things to consider if you do use a grocery cart, even if it's just a quick trip. It's super helpful to just push that, take the weight and the burden off of your shoulders as well. And one thing I'd like to say, so if you are interested in things like Amazon Prime, I've just learned recently after Prime Day was that they do offer options and discounts for Amazon Prime if you're a student. You also get 50% off Prime for qualifying government assistant recipients. You do have to show proof of that, but I thought that was interesting so that you can get the benefits of some of the grocery shopping like fresh and Whole Foods delivery. I know that Walmart opened up some better programs too and different membership levels for delivery, which a lot of people enjoy. Instacart has delivery services, and I know things like DoorDash have added different grocery shopping, and I haven't used those before, but they have different levels now of membership. So this is a great incentive if you need these delivery services. So if you are using them, I'd love to know. And I'd love to know any barriers you're finding, or if you're just loving it too. Grocery lists are perfect. Again, preparing ahead of time, thinking of your grocery list in advance for brain fog moments, helping us keep on track and focused. And then also it helps us keep on budget if we have that in mind as well. Asking for help. I put this on the list because I have been doing a terrible job in the past of asking for help. Please do get help with lifting heavy items. You can also ask someone to shop for you. Maybe you have a friend or a loved one that offers to get you items from the grocery store. And I know it can feel difficult. You don't want to feel like a burden sometimes on other people. Or if you have specific needs and dietary restrictions, you're looking for certain products, right? So how do you convey that to the other people? And one tool that I found helpful with my significant other, because he was always asking me, can I get you something? I'd be like, no, no, no. So one thing I found helpful was I took pictures of the products that I do eat, the food that is compliant for me. I take a picture of the front and the back just so he knows. We have a shared Trello board, a project management system. So he pulls it up on his phone and he can see the items if I've said that and what I need. And then I also let him know if the item is not there, don't worry. Just skip it, because I can't afford to get the wrong, or it's just wasteful sometimes, because I'm sensitive to a lot of different ingredients, and then shopping for me becomes really difficult. So we're trying to make it streamlined as much as possible so we don't add stress to the person that's offered to do us a favor. So that's something to keep in mind, but do ask for help. And one thing I haven't tried in the asking for help either is asking someone to come with me grocery shopping, either a friend. I don't know if that makes it more enjoyable, but you can shop and share recipes. I have not tried that, but maybe they can help you with certain things. And then, of course, ask people at the grocery store if they'd be willing to help you, especially with those heavy items, and help load up your car. It's something that I didn't do, that I probably needed to do for a long time. Using mobility aids when you go to the store is an important aspect of it. And, no matter what age, just embracing that we can use these tools to help us manage our energy and make sure we don't go into a flare after grocery shopping. Some tips and tools for saving money: shopping seasonally for vegetables at the grocery stores, and keep an eye on those sales. So those weekly sales, that go on at all the grocery stores, and things tend to be cyclical too. So you can really find these items and save money, especially right now. And then avoid shopping during very busy hours. And when people are rushing in, it's packed. Try to plan ahead if you can and decrease that time so you have a lot of time to maneuver through. You're not like crammed for space, especially if you get overwhelmed in crowded situations. Look for some of those downtimes. I know even if you search in Google, it'll tell you like high times for the shopping in Google when you're actually looking at the grocery store as well. So it's something to consider. And then planning ahead, obviously, during those major holidays where everyone is shopping and you can find some rudeness when you're going in as well. So you're trying to really manage and conserve that energy as much as possible if you are going into a grocery store. Now, reading food labels is something that we'll do a separate video on, and it's an important piece of adding nutrition into your life and getting used to it, because sometimes we just buy based on the front and how we're marketed to, and it can be very deceptive. So I always say, just turn the package around, look for that food label, and start to learn to understand how to read ingredients, what to look for in serving size, and do this in advance. You can do this in advance online too. If there's a new product you've heard about, and I watch a a lot of those grocery haul videos online so that I get familiar with the products, and I'll be sure to share some of my favorite resources with you. But I'll get to know the product labels in advance. So this is helpful when I'm going to go do the delivery services or curbside pickup. I kind of know, but I still read it again. Do check in advance because products are always changing. And one weird thing that I noticed is some of the brands have different ingredients depending on different stores. It's bizarre, but it caught me off guard the other day. And then even if someone tells you that there's a great product out there from our communities, if you're trying to do a specific dietary change, still check the ingredients. I found this out with a weird mushroom mix as well. I didn't realize as much sugar was in it when I was thinking that there was no sugar. So I was adding it to my coffee, and I was like, oh, okay. So continue to read labels, get used to it, learn about how to read ingredients, and we'll do a more in-depth video because I think it's important when it comes to understanding nutrition and understanding the context into what you're eating as well. Because food labels will provide information on what you're putting into your body. And so reading the ingredients and these nutrition facts is important. Some of the things to definitely pay attention to: serving size. So if you have more than one serving, this will increase the information on the panel, and that gets very confusing. So pay attention to the serving size. And then of course, ingredients. Ingredients are listed in descending order by weight of which the ingredient is in the food. Again, we'll get into more details in another video. Frozen vegetables and fruit, shopping for this. I think frozen veggies have gotten a bad rap, and I'm not sure why with the deceptiveness of quality, but I think right now too, and I don't know if anyone has noticed this as well, that the fresh produce was actually rotting a lot faster for me when we were shopping for it. And that's the thing, fresh produce can be limited at certain times of year, spoils quickly, and can be much more expensive. So if you're looking for sales on like frozen vegetables and fruits, this might be a great way to not only save money, but have it stored up for you. And do look for just the vegetables and fruits. So take a look at that label and make sure there's no added sodium or sugar, because they do add sugar to fruit and making it sweeter. So, and then do follow sales. There were some great sales on different stores when it comes to frozen veggies at different times of year as well. And the thing with frozen vegetables that it works well in cooked dishes like casseroles, stir fries, soups. Some of these favorite options include broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and squash. And then if you do have extra produce, you can always freeze it for increasing the shelf life of these nutritious foods as well. And then don't forget, you can add veggies, these frozen veggies and fruits to smoothies really easily. Some people like to just bring in the bags of frozen veggies and have it lined up, or you pre-prep and have those smoothies ready to go in containers, and you just dump it into the blender and it's easy to go. Or you have the bags of frozen vegetables and fruit ready to go for your smoothie. It's measured out there, or you just pop it in. And then also steaming. Steaming is something that was great for me to do on those days where it was absolutely miserable, but I had to get nutrition in. So I would just easily steam some of these vegetables. I would put them in a bowl, could put them in the microwave, or sometimes if I had more energy, I'd do something different to it, add some avocado on top, but I was still getting the nutrition in that I needed. And of course, if you have ideas on how to make things a little bit tastier, please post in the comments section. Cooking. Oh, this has been a huge barrier for me, and I do have to ask for a lot of help when it comes to cooking. Now, what I would suggest too, if you're anything like me and trying to get started, is save easy recipes and kind of work your way through it. So start with really simple recipes. I wish I was going to be a Gordon Ramsay master chef. I've worked with some master chefs in the past that have tried to give me instructions. I'm just not picking it up. Plus, I'm really I have some mobility challenges with my hands and dexterity issues, so I tend to drop things, or I have issues cutting. So I said my knife skills are atrocious, and I mean it. So easy recipes, and this could go along with any like cooking recipes, baking recipes, smoothie recipes, anything like that. Just make it quick and simple. And then you can start to like experiment too with herbs, which is something I haven't mentioned a lot. Adding herbs and flavors to things, steeping things in these herbs and spices can actually add some more flavor. But again, post your comments. I need as much tips as possible. Use a stool. If you can find a stool at a good height, it's okay to sit down while you're cooking and take breaks. It's a great way rather than just keep standing up the whole time. But you can use the stool, you can sit down, you can help ask people for help. They can help you prep, they can help you cut vegetables. So anything like that is going to be important to reach out for. It's fun if you can, as a family, also encourage cooking together. Teaching kids to cook, I really encourage it as much as possible. And the whole household is getting involved with nutrition and healthy lifestyle behaviors. Another thing to look for is find tools that make things easier for you. I'm all about the simplicity and finding those tools that will make my life so much easier when it comes to being in the kitchen. And then also one thing that is not talked about enough, but using this as your movement and energy time, which I know sometimes we're told to go and exercise, and that word is so jarring. But adding nutrition into your lives, and I don't think any provider is going to disagree, but they're not necessarily relaying this to patients, is this could be your movement time. You're actually adding in nutrition, you're doing something for self-care, and you're moving about the kitchen. I know it may not be exercise, and there's ways to add in elements of additional movement as you're in the kitchen, like leg lifts and those things. I think there's a 5-minute kitchen video by Dr. Chatterjee. But you have a limited amount of energy that you can utilize. So I encourage you to see what it feels like to use that energy to start cooking more at home. Meal planning. So meal planning it can be flexible. It can be as rigid as you want it to be. Meal planning is the act of planning and writing down any of your meals for the week or even the month. I need strategies on how you meal plan for the month for sure. And you're doing it ahead of time. You can plan for yourself or you can plan for your family. And this also helps you build a grocery list. It doesn't really matter what you plan as long as you said you've thought about it. That's the goal. So the goal really is not to start from zero for every single meal, because that gets really taxing energy wise. It gets so confusing. And I know in the past when I didn't do any meal planning, I just gave up. I don't know what to cook. Like, I'm just eating whatever there. There's nothing in the kitchen for me. I had no idea. So meal planning will save time, reduce grocery trips, save money. You'll also have planned leftovers. And this also decreases the things with both the combination of what you're shopping for as well. And when we're trying to make nutritional changes, notice if you're grabbing those convenience foods. So something is the out of sight, out of mind. If you have a sweet tooth like I do, it's best not to buy those foods and have them around, because as you're making these nutritional changes, you might tend to gravitate towards those because it's quicker and it's more convenient for you. And then so with this meal planning, you'll have more control over your food. Now, meal prepping is a little different, and why is it important to do? And it can be done on days where you feel like you have more energy. And this is why I say this might be a good time to think about some movement in the kitchen to meal prep and use your energy on, if you have it available on those days, to start meal prepping in advance. And this is good for those busy, stressful days, heavy pain and fatigue days, because you've already prepared in advance. So if you have really bad pain day, these meals will be pre-made in the fridge or the freezer, and it can save you that time and energy. And then you can still keep your nutrition goals on track because you just heat it up. Make it super simple from the freezer. These are home cooked by yourself. You prepped in advance. You can heat it up whichever way you feel most comfortable doing. And I noticed this is really helpful for those days I am just have nothing left to give as far as energy and pain, or I am stressed out, but I need to keep myself on track. Batch cooking also comes up as a tip. So making batches of food or ingredients that you can use as components for future meals. This is something I've been testing out in the last couple of years to go through so you're cooking less. And a great example is instead of cooking boiled chicken for only one meal during that week, you cook up some extra boiled chicken and you use it with other recipes in that week. And I know some of our fibromyalgia advocates are great at doing this, so I can't wait to hear from them and their tips for cooking for their families as well. And then you can eat these meals throughout the week. You can either freeze them or they'll be ready to make and heat up from the fridge. Always great to have that in advance so you can, whenever you need it. And for all of these tips, by the way, you can search these terms. Like you can search terms for batch cooking for beginners. There's a lot of great information on the internet. We'll include some of our favorite resources. And if you have some that you love to, please post in the comments. There is a lot of content out there to help improve quick and easy meal preps, quick and easy batch cooking. Everybody understands we're all doing this together, even if they're not diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but they have some great tips for us. Now, I did want to talk about the appliances and tools because this has been a game changer for me. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not the most phenomenal cook, and I really relied on a blender to get my nutrition up to par and get me to reclaim some of my health. So consider acquiring appliances and tools that will make your life easier in the kitchen. Items you may want to consider: a high-speed blender, Instant Pot, food processor, personal blender, a food saver, and kitchen tools for arthritis. There are actually tools labeled out there for arthritis. If you've tried them, let me know if they're any good. And of course, there's an advocate in the arthritis scene that will post a resource to. She's phenomenal with the resources she shares. And you don't have to have all of these, but just consider looking at some of these tools. So I got and invested into a high-speed blender. Shop the sales. When the sales go on for any of the holiday sales like Black Friday, Prime Day, Labor Day sales, any of those types of sales, you keep an eye on this and you can grab some really good deals, even from the manufacturers themselves versus some of the other retailers. But look for those and plan ahead so you're saving in advance and you can add these tools to your life. The blender has saved my life when it comes to smoothies. I do everything smoothies because you don't have to have exact knife cuts, right? Your skills, or like I mentioned, adding in fruits and veggies that were frozen. I don't have to have the perfect knife skills to make a smoothie or blend soups. That has been a really good choice for me. I'm going to learn how to use an Instant Pot. I have some books and friends that are experts in that section. So if you have other tips too, please share. Thank you so much, everyone. Please definitely follow Support Fibromyalgia Network on our social media channels. Go to supportfibro.org. Say hello in the comment section. Thank you so much. I am Melissa Tawar. I am the Executive Director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network. I am also a board-certified functional medicine health coach.